Okay, first thing we'll do some prep work for this. Our end goal is to bring a textured object into Unity from Blender. And that's what the project will be, is for you to bring in different objects here and try to create a 3D look of some sort. Okay, so I'm going to split my window, grab those three little lines in the upper right-hand corner. Change this one to the UV image editor. And for your cube, we want to make some seams. So I'm going to go into edit mode, choose my edge select, and I'll right click these three sides right here. And I'll go and click under the shading UVs editor, I'll click the mark seam. I'm going to rotate it to the bottom now and select this one, and I'll choose mark seam. And then I'll go over to the other side and grab those corresponding three. So holding down my shift key after I select each one and click my mark seam. If you do your A and unselect everything, you should see a red U on this side. On the exact opposite side, you should see a red U, and then on the bottom, you should see one of the lines connecting them.
So is it supposed to be U on each side?
Yes.
And there should be only one side on the bottom that's not selected?
Right.
What about the top? Nothing?
Top, nothing. I think in theory you could probably select more on the bottom and be fine, but okay. So go over to the video now. So what he did is I'm going back to object mode, and I have my cube selected. He went into materials just to make sure it was a material set up there. If you didn't have material, like if you click this minus, you could click the plus to create it. And then, so again, it appeared like he didn't do anything here. He's just verifying it actually had a material block. Then he comes over here, and under the type, you choose image or movie. And then down here in the coordinates, and I'll play the video just to make sure I remember this correctly. Under the coordinates, he chooses UV for our UV mapping. Okay, so let me go check that. So over here, if you bring up Unity, and I'll create a new project. So do a new project. Look at this. I'm gonna give it a name. Blender import textured model. You want to make sure it's 3D. It doesn't make much sense to bring a 3D model into a 2D environment. And then click Create Project. Okay, so he's talking about the assets down here. The idea is that if you import the Blender file, it imports a copy. So then you start changing your original again, it doesn't update the copy. So when we save our Blender file, we're going to save it in the folder where the assets is. And so then any changes we make to the Blender file is automatically reflected here after you do a refresh. So I got the assets here. If I right click on that, you can see Choose an Explorer. Specifically, we want the assets folder, and you can see it's highlighted. But if I double click it, it'll put the entire path name up here at the top. So bring in their assets folder.
What did you do to do it? You right click on it and import new asset?
You right click on assets.
Yeah.
And you say open in Explorer.
Open. Show Explorer.
Or is there show
in
Explorer? And then double click the assets. So up at the top, you should see your last folder listed there. It says assets. Now, if I click over here in this white space over here, it'll highlight all of that. And now if I right click on that blue, I can choose copy. Okay, so we'll need that. So I go ahead and close that. Now I'm going to minimize Unity, and I'm going to go back to Blender. And I'm going to save this. So I do a File, Save. And up here in the folder, I'm going to click over here in this gray area. You see it highlighted now. And now if you do a Control V, it'll paste in that Assets folder. So you should see the last folder listed says Assets. Now you can give this whatever name you want. My cube. And save Blender file. And click twice. I'm not sure why it has you click twice, but now after you do that, if you go over to Unity, you should see your cube down here. Now I should be able to drag my cube, and I'm talking about the far left one. These all collapse like that. But I should be able to drag this and drop it up here in the scene. Everybody good so far? Okay. Okay, this UV's menu right here. Right. Oh yeah, we haven't done that, have we? Okay. That's weird. I thought I had done that. Oh, edit. Oh, I just marked my seams. Yeah. And then unwrap. You should see that there. Now the idea on this is another way of doing UVs, is I'm going to save this file here, and then I'm going to edit it. So I'll make changes to it. And you see UVs here, and you see there's an export UV layout. So choose that. Now make sure that it does say assets up at the top. You want it in the same folder as everything else. Did it work? Oh. You can see it's not that. I know it because I've been watching these videos. But you can tell when he was creating this video, he didn't know where Mark seams at. He had it wrong. That's actually good enough.
So this one,
Yeah, that's fine. And that's a simple shape. You know, imagine like a humanoid or something. You're trying to figure out where in the world to make these cuts at. That's where it takes somebody who's got some experience, some talent in that area, can visualize. Okay, so when you at that point, what you're doing is you're clicking the UVs here, and you're choosing export UV layout. Now you should be in the same assets folder where your Unity project is, and mine's called mycube.png, and that's fine. You could leave it that name. And then click Export UV Layout. Now, we're going to go into paint.net, or whatever package you want. And that's the one I was playing with earlier. That's a pretty cool little image there. Now if I do a file open, and this is why it's nice to have that on your clipboard, because if I come up here, then you can paste that in. So now I'll do a Control V and press enter, and that'll bring you to the project you're currently working on. And you see we got a mycube.png. So if I click that, comes in here, and here's what, whacked. Now I can change my brush width to 14 or higher, choose a color, and you can draw in here. Now the only places it actually makes sense for you to draw in is within the faces. So you can see the gray outline where your face is, whether it's sideways or whatever. Now you just don't have to draw. You can actually bring text in. You can bring a picture in. So like if I bring this in, if I do an edit, select all, and do an edit copy, you can come over here and you can do an edit paste into new layer, or you can do paste. And now if I drag that, I guess that's pretty small. I'm looking at it. Make it that size. If I do a file open and bring in another image from pictures, Pac-Man. Do an edit select all. Edit copy. Come back here, I'll do an edit paste. Into just paste. I'll do another edit paste. I'll put Pac-Man all over the place. And edit paste. And we'll write something again. I think I'll do it. Text. Maybe I won't. That's so small. Well, never mind that. It's not going to let me put that in there. Let me choose the shape. Rectangle. It's going to be filled. Different color, maybe. Well, shoot. Let me just put a couple more Pac-Mans in. I'm not sure why it's not letting me draw. It's just a PNG. There's only one layer.
Yeah,
I did. Yeah. Huh. Okay. I'll do a paste. See, I should be able to. Maybe I didn't deselect that. Maybe deselect. Choose here. Okay, I can see that. So why can't I do this? Now it's working. I must have Pac-Man still selected or something. Except for the star won't even appear, will it? It's not even an outline there. Oh well. I'll click Save. And click OK. You can leave it open in Paint.net. It doesn't matter. Now, this part I'm going to have to watch a video because I don't remember how to re-import it. I think you just do an open. I think it updates automatically when you do an F12. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. He said materials, but where he was at was textures. That's why I didn't think he was going back to materials. So he's here and he clicks his open. And Blender imported texture model. I think that's it. My cube. And you see it appear up here. And I think he just has an F12 now. So come here, do F12. And you see a rendered cube.
Mine did not open that.
Didn't open up?
This one is opening up something else entirely.
Yeah. Close that. To do F12, you have to push the Fn button. And then F12. I don't know how many times I brought up that application. Now you can see that by taking it into an external tool, you have a lot more resources available to you than that simple editor we're looking at last time, right? So that export opens up a lot. Now I want to make sure I save this. So I'm going to do a file save on my Blender. Now over here in Unity, you don't see it update. Well, there it goes. There it is. What I had to do earlier is I think I had to right click on it and I had to say refresh or re-import. I don't remember which one it shows. But if you choose one of those, it'll automatically bring in any changes. Though this was obviously smart enough to do it this time. But it doesn't show it up here. Now, this is where I couldn't get his video to work quite right unless I just wasn't seeing where he was dropping it at. Now I notice this doesn't really match. See how it says material, shader, diffuse, and so forth? And in ours, if you have the cube selected here, you see how we got the material here? And if you click the drop down, it's not the same settings, is it? It says shader standard. It's had a different version, yeah. And so I couldn't, for the life of me, figure out how to drop it on here. There's like no place to drop it on here. You can see right here, what he's going to do is he's going to drag and drop this texture over to here to apply it. What I had to finally do is simply drop the texture, grab the texture here and just drag it and drop it underneath here in this gray area. And then it updates automatically. A little bit different than theirs. Did it work? Oh. You grab your. Yeah. Now you don't have to save the Blender file directly into that folder. If you have another one you want to import, if you simply say import new asset, I think under my documents I have the werewolf. Balarkin blend, whatever that is. I think this is one. Let me click import. And then you can drag and drop this up here. Now we're eventually going to be taking a look at how to control the animations within Unity. So you can programmatically do it. And we'll also look at how to just generate an animation that's created over in Blender. I just want to make sure I got all the quirks out of it, kind of like how that video doesn't match exactly. Before we do that. Now, when you have this up here, you got all these tools available here, the move tool, the rotate tool. So like if I choose rotate here, you can rotate your character however you want. For my cube, if I wanted to rotate it to a different side, then you can. I'll rotate like this. That's weird. Did I write backwards?
Unless that's upside down.
Oh, yeah. It's been one of those days. I guess I better go home and go to bed. I was thinking this had something to do with the normal, you know, yeah, I bet it is upside down. Now notice this is correct, but that's upside down, isn't it? So over here, what would I want to do? Take the high and move it, rotate it upside down if I wanted it the same here. And that's where it takes some playing to make sure your images is all lined up like you want and so forth in like a game. Is there any questions on that? What I want you to do there is create at least one object in Blender, apply a texture to it, and bring it in here. You don't have to spend as much time on it as like the house one or anything. But then go and bring in other objects from, remember the Turbo Squid? We can get free models. Download free models and bring in the different components of that.
So they'll be turning into new projects then?
No, just be one.
I mean, like all together today, you want us to turn the Unity project.
Oh, for Blender, yes. Yeah, we'll spend a little bit of time, maybe one or two more classes actually in Unity, actually doing something useful with what we've been doing with Blender.
And hopefully they will.
Yeah, hopefully. It's like that one wasn't too bad. It's like